Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. That's going to take a while to get used to, gang. Today is Wednesday, November 24th, 2021. Where has the year gone? It's gone by so fast. But this has not been my favorite year so far. And I'll have a message towards the end of the year. I just wish we had 2020 back, you know? So that's supposed to be a joke. My humor is somewhat dry, and I apologize for that. But I have good news for you today. But I want to start by I hope you're having an awesome day today. I'm in the Ozarks, and it's a little bit cold and it's a little bit windy today, so I'm glad to be inside. But we have awesome news. We have a judge that has actually stopped local mandates from being able to happen in the state of Missouri, and this has ramifications on a local level only. So OSHA, we still have a problem with with Biden trying to get OSHA mandates done, but at least I can report on this. So let me read a little bit here so you guys can understand better what has happened here. And this is from yesterday. Breaking: judge ends masks and other mandates in Missouri for good. Missouri judge ruled that local health officials can no longer issue COVID-19 safety orders. He said the orders infringe upon the constitutional separation of powers between branches of government reported by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And we'll get to them in a second because they're communist. And we like to expose communists on this channel. The ruling from Cole County Circuit Court Judge Daniel Green, you should remember that name, means that local regulations throughout Missouri are struck down and rendered obsolete, reported the Post-Dispatch. The case is whether the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services regulations can abolish representative government in the creation of public health laws, edicts, in other words, or mandates, and whether it can authorize closure of a school or assembly based on unfettered opinion of an unelected official. This court finds that it cannot, says Green, according to the Post-Dispatch. Missouri's health authorities have grown accustomed to issuing edicts and coercing compliance. It's far past time this unconstitutional conduct to stop, added Green, a Republican who was first elected as county judge in 2010. This comes as a result of a 2020 lawsuit by a group including Ben Brown, who is running for Senate in Missouri. Okay, gang. We're going to go real quick here to the Post-Dispatch. This is a St. Louis newspaper, also online. And this is Ben Brown, the guy who brought the lawsuit, which is a private citizen who had a business that was closed down, of course, during the shutdowns that happened in 2020. I want to read the first sentence of this because it's just dripping with communism. Jefferson City. A Missouri judge has stripped local health departments of their ability to issue orders designed to keep people safe during a pandemic. Okay, let me read it again here, a little more dramatically. A Missouri judge has stripped local health departments of their ability to issue orders designed to keep people safe during a pandemic. Ben Franklin had stuff to say about this. Like 250 years ago, he was saying stuff about this. So at any rate, someone needs to let the St. Louis Post-Dispatch know that we left the crown, basically in 1776, and there's some of us that still don't want to go communist, but apparently the St. Louis Post-Dispatch does, just by their words. So that's Kurt Erickson with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Love your choice of words, man. We know who you are now. Okay, so let's talk about the ramifications of this on a level that we've covered before here in the initiative. I'm still getting used to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. And I think at some point, the people who have had the vaccine, that have had COVID, that have been tested for antibodies, this is a direct quote, by the way, I'm sorry, I should have started by saying that, from Governor Parson here in Missouri. And I think that at some point, the people who have had the vaccine, have had COVID, that have been tested for antibodies, and they've got it in their system, I think there needs to be division between those people and the people who are unvaccinated. He was referring to school children in this speech. This was August 11th of 2021. We took him to task for that. Lots and lots of phone calls were made. He refused to clarify the statement. He was talking about segregation of children in public schools based on serumized status. So that order issued by the judge prevents this from happening. So Governor Parson, I got to ask some hard questions now. I doubt he watches the channel. I know that others do, in politics in Missouri. Governor Parson, I need to ask who you're working for here, because you're not working for the people of Missouri. And we have to have judges come up and clean up your messes. So what's wrong with you? Who do you work for? Because it's not the people of Missouri, or is someone else just paying you? to represent them? Is there a special interest group or an industry that's paying you? Or have you been threatened by somebody? Because you certainly are not constitutional with this statement. So I'm ashamed to say that of my governor here in the state of Missouri, but at least we do have a judge that saw this as a potential problem and has corrected it now. So once again, in Missouri, I don't tell anyone that we're perfect here. I've never done that. What I do say is that we're airing out our dirty laundry. We're shining lights in the darkness. And this is how you actually correct these problems with corruption. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily corruption. This could be ideology. And it doesn't matter which. They're both wrong, at least from this point of view right now. Okay, moving right along here because I'm trying to make it a short video. Eric Schmidt, this was on his Facebook page, and I want to let people of Springfield, Missouri know that he has addressed you. And his statement goes as follows. Yesterday, Springfield, Missouri Public Schools hired a lobbyist with taxpayer money to advocate against parents and taxpayers' interests in the next legislative session, all because they've been exposed for refusing to allow parents to speak at meetings and are hiding documentation about critical race theory. Of course, they're injecting critical race theory, or CRT, into the curriculum in Springfield, Missouri. Are you paying attention yet? He asks. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll bring this up here so you guys can see it. Several things to say about this. Number one, this whole thing with if you are a concerned parent and if you're addressing the school board, you just might be a terrorist. If you don't like the decisions made by your local school board, you just might be a terrorist. That's literally coming from the federal government. That's why Missouri has actually left the National School Board Association. So this shouldn't be a problem, but we are still having problems with our school boards. Number one, and most important, remember their names, write them down. Any school board member that is covering up CRT or literally won't let parents come and speak because they're concerned about CRT, they're actually advocating for communism. Now, that may sound like alarmist or overly dramatic, hyperbolic. I don't think so. CRT, we've not covered this, with the initiative yet, but we will. But I've actually been warned against doing it. And maybe I should do a video about, the interesting things I encounter. But the fact of the matter is, critical race theory, there is absolutely no place for that in Missouri or in the United States. Because what it is communism in disguise. It's brainwashing the youth into actually embracing communist ideals. The worst parts of communism, by the way. It's all about divide and conquer, which is we're going to next. So people in Springfield, pay attention, please. Do something about this. See what you can get done here. You can address your school board, and maybe it's about, getting them recalled. You've got elections coming up in April. So deal with it then, but make sure that those folks never, ever, ever hold public office ever again because they are advocating for communism. And I don't think I'm being overly dramatic on this. Okay. And I'm going to end with a Thanksgiving message that includes a message of love, hope, communism, Saul Alinsky, and divide and conquer. So this was worth the price of admission. You guys know about Saul Alinsky. I did stuff on him on the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast, the other YouTube channel that we have. But I want to talk about divide and conquer, which is actually something he wrote about. And it's a very, very, very important tenet to communism in order to take a free society into communism, divide and conquer. And we have all kinds of divides in the United States. Boy, we don't have any shortages of divides. Let's start the ball rolling. Pro-choice, pro-life. Pro-gun, anti-gun. Rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight. I mean, we could do this for a long, long time. There's fun divides too, that we chide each other and we give each other a hard time over, particularly at family gatherings, over sports teams, over, Chevy or Ford, things of that nature. And the divide with the serum is the most concerning thing I think I've ever seen before in my adult life. In fact, in my entire life, because these divides are being forced by government. Of course, divide and conquer is a communist strategy. It is 100% a communist strategy. This is how you literally breed communism, is literally having groups of people hating one another and bringing in the government to come in and solve the problem and bridge the gap and then solve the issues that cause the divide, which the government caused in the first place. Problem, reaction, solution, right? We don't need it in our families. The most effective way to take down a nation is divide the families within that nation. Because actually, as long as families stay together and families see each other as a source of comfort and support, the foundation of our society has always been the family. I mean, it's probably not true in all nations. I think it probably is, though. But this is literally how you keep everything together, and you basically have a society with proper meaning. And we could actually do an interesting podcast based on that at some point in time. We're going into Thanksgiving, and a lot of people are going to be visiting with their families, and I certainly am. What that means for me is I'm going to take a little bit of time off, and I'm going to try and be back Sunday night to do a live stream with the gang. We have a lot to talk about, but I'm going into a situation where I'm seeing, a bunch of family members that are serumized, whereas me and my okay, I come from Minnesota. That's my mom's side of the family. Love them to death. They're great people. I'm down here in Missouri where it's just myself and my wife and our daughter and our grandkids, but also my twin brother is down here and his kids are down here. So we've got a contingent down here in Missouri. No one in Missouri is serumized. I'm sorry, no one in my family in Missouri is serumized. But if you go up to Minnesota, I think almost all of them are serumized. And it's a different mentality up there than we have here in Missouri. I'm kind of the black sheep of the family in that way. And and I'm sure many of you know what it means to be the black sheep in the family. But I'm not going to let the serum separate this family. I'm not going to let it happen. So, because the family is much more important than ideology on bad science. So, I'm not going to argue about it. I'm not going to have to prove a case. I'm not going to have to bring up documentation online and print it out. I'm not doing any of that. I'm simply saying to my family, hey, listen, you've got the serum. It's okay. I asked you to look into that, to not do it, and you did it anyway. But that's okay. I still love you. And I still want to hug you. You know, I don't mind kissing you, Mom, because you've been serumized. I don't mind that at all. If they mind doing that with me because I'm not, there's really nothing I can do about it. But I can certainly still love them, and I can still support them. And I don't think I'm going to have a problem up there, but I think many families do. And for those of you who are a follower of Christ, just remember his entire ministry on earth was about forgiveness. In fact, even I believe it's in Matthew, where Jesus said, you must forgive in order to be forgiven. So keep that in mind too. But I think all of us need to remember how important our families are as we go into very, very bad times, which continue to get worse. Is it all happening at once? No, it's happening very slowly, but we are going into a massive inflationary period right now. A lot of things will change in your life because of this inflation that we haven't even inflected on yet. Gasoline and food prices, everything is going to go up after that, and very soon we're going to come to a crossroads as far as inflation goes. And we'll be reporting on that as well. But I wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving with your families. I hope that if there was division in your families over the serum and the beer flu, that you can heal those divides and you can remember what it's like to be a family before this whole thing came upon us, before the government let loose one of their weapons in order to further an agenda, before the mainstream media was used as a weapon against the American people to divide them, before the federal government weaponized aspects of the executive branch, such as Department of Labor and OSHA and others, Homeland Security. The weapons being used by government, by media, by even the public schools, critical race theory is a great example, are something that we should be able to transcend as families, to actually come together and remember that we are a family and that we love each other no matter what. So the government will say, no, you shouldn't be loving them because they have a different point of view than you do. Just remember, Vikings versus Green Bay, how important is that? You know, pro-gun, anti-gun, does that mean you have to hate someone in your family because they don't like guns? You don't have to agree with them, but you don't have to hate them. The U.S. government, the mainstream media, I mean, even, the militarized medical complex is forcing these divisions on you. Don't buy it. Turn off the TV. That's another message I have for you this Thanksgiving. Turn off the TV. Just enjoy your family. How many more of these get-togethers are we going to enjoy in America before worse things happen? Fight in your states, to keep free, to keep your freedoms, and fight to make sure that your family can see through this and that you guys can still love one another despite the fact you have a different point of view or a different opinion, usually brought about by, having access to different sources of information. That's my message. Family comes first, right? God comes first, family comes second. But you guys get what I'm saying. So let's all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let's enjoy the time with our families. Let's not get in arguments. Let's not create strife, and let's not stir the pot. Let's remember how much we love our families and why. And the fact is, when it comes time, your time, and you're on your deathbed, the last thing you're going to want to do is argue about the serum or argue about the beer flu. You're just going to want your family by your side. That's what you're going to want. And then if you put yourself into a position where they won't be at your side, then that's on you. Let's love and let's forgive and let's enjoy and let's hug our families. Let's keep them close. Let's let them know how much we love them, how much we think about them, how much we care about them, and let it stick. Don't let it slip back into the authoritarian view of divide and conquer anymore. Let's rise above it. Let's show the government that we don't give a crap what they say anymore. That the authorities, the health authorities, we don't give a crap what you say anymore because you're into divide and conquer. You're not into science, right? Let's do that. Let's choose that road. Okay, gang, that's all I have for you. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. May God bless every one of you. Stay safe in your travels. So I'm actually going to ask the Lord right now, dear Lord, anyone who watches this video, please give them safe travel. Please help them as they get together with their families to heal divides if there are any. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, gang. May God bless each and every one of you. You take care. Have a happy Thanksgiving. See you, gang.